Hi guys, welcome to Current Village, and in today's episode we're talking about the art and the art competition. Here with me is a guest. Kindly introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Ruben Matara Onsinyo. Um, I come from Diani.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the owner of Almasi Art Agency, which is a gallery in the South Coast in Diani, and we represent artists. That's what I do.
Okay, so tell us more about the Almasi Gallery.
So, Almasi Art Agency was registered in 2019, so it's about 7 years old now. But we opened the space in 2023, so the space is 3 years old.
Okay.
And basically, what we do is, as I said, represent artists, and we represent currently in the space about 12 artists that are on show. But in the wider sort of pool of artists that we have represented about 70 artists from maybe 19 countries.
Okay, and what made you open the art gallery? What made you interested in it?
So I have fielded this question a few times, and I think I like letting people know my background. My educational background is in journalism, and that is basically communication. And I view fine art as a massive means of communication. And in that sense, I feel like one of the most important duties of gallery owners is to let the client or the guest know what the artists were trying to communicate when they were generating the piece.
Okay.
And in that sense, I feel like my background in communication gives me an opportunity to sort of relay the artist's story to whoever is looking at it, if you get my meaning.
Yes. And why is Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa better than Kenyan artists when you look at it globally?
Right. That's a quite sensitive subject because I think it is something that cuts across the board, not only in visual arts but even in performing arts. I feel like the countries that have a little bit more pride in their own product are more likely to give the world something exclusive. You spoke about South Africa, and I could speak maybe about performing arts, and they have Amapiano, which is basically Zulu drums. So if you are proud to be Zulu and you produce something Zulu, it is different to the world. I feel there is a lot of assimilation in Kenya.
Yes.
I think we take in a lot of other people's cultures a little bit more than other countries. So say, from a musical sense, maybe say Lingala.
Yes.
We have artists that do Lingala and they're Kenyan. I feel Kenya would benefit a little bit more, East Africa would benefit more from trying to stay very connected to their roots, so that they can give the world something exclusive, even
Yes.
in the visual arts. In the same sense, West Africa have amazing artists over the generations, but you could see in West Africa the pride that they have in their culture. You could spot a Nigerian at an international airport because of how they dress, but it's very difficult to sort of point out a Kenyan just by seeing them for the first time, you know. So I feel like people should be more proud about, say, Benga and local sort of forms of generating art and art in all forms. So I feel that's why other countries have the upper hand, in the sense that they like portraying to the world what they have locally, and that gives them a big boost in sales and representation all over the world.
Yes. And I would want to ask, do you feel that artists should be taxed in this country? Because these days the government is just taxing everyone and everything. So do you think that artists should be taxed?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, artists shouldn't be taxed.
Yes.
And my reason for this is because I feel they add something to society that nobody else can. I think art, it takes away the dust of life. Life's tough. So if you make it harder for artists to sort of put their art out there, whereas I feel like they're helping society, they shouldn't be taxed. Other countries are a little bit more established in terms of how they run their affairs. Do not tax art. Sometimes they do not even tax art that comes into the country, so that there is a nice sharing of culture, and in the sense that art is one of the biggest ways of sharing culture. So if you tax art, then you're limiting what an artist can generate, you know. So for me, it is not proper to tax artists.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Billy Kisia. I'm a visual artist, and we are having a competition this year, 2026.
Yes.
Yeah, whose theme is the joy of colors, joy of colors. So, about the competition that you're holding, what do you think are the ways to make the competition grow, for it to be massive, so that we can have something like something big enough for people to come and see, enjoy? Yeah. So, what are some of the aspects that you can see inside the growth of competition at Current Village?
Yeah, so well, currently with the art competition, I feel like they started out in 2024 with 57 artists. Last year they had 75 artists, if I'm not wrong. And this year there's already 50 entries, and I think we have maybe over a month to go. So the competition already, as an idea, is already growing. But I feel like if we need to take it to the next level, then it would mean that there should be opportunities for the artists that come out of that competition to have a bit of sustainability in how they generate their artwork. Can they be linked to professional galleries so that they are full-time artists instead of part-time artists? Can they be given the opportunity to show in exhibitions, in either group exhibitions, and maybe later on in their career, maybe solos, you know? So for me, I feel like if there's that conveyor belt between them being in the competition and them maybe showing in actual exhibitions, then that would probably grow the competition, because then there is a clear line of thought on how they can then further their career by joining this competition.
Yeah, I think that's goes hand in hand with even my goals, my purpose of being a full-time artist. For me, ever since I grew up, I just know art as a that's all I know about art, how to draw, and how I can make money of art.
Yes.
And I've done that ever since even I was at the university.
Okay.
I used art to sustain myself, maybe help my parents to pay my school fees. Yeah, so it has been very helpful, and I think about the growth of the competition, what we've said is really correct. Art should just be like another career. Yeah, so someone should, like every artist should focus on working on it full time and find different avenues to make income using art. Yeah. So the next question is, I don't know what you think about this year's theme,
Yes.
joy in color, or what is on your mind when you just hear the word joy in color?
Joy in color. That's the theme for this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like the theme then is something that somebody can take up and try and be creative with. We've not had themes before with the art competition, and I feel that then allows people to be very random with how they send their submissions. But in this particular sense, then it gives the artist a bit more of a narrower sort of subject to work with. That said, I think this year's competition only allows for one entry instead of three. And I think this is amazing for the artists, because then they get to put their best foot forward as judges for the competition. I think it allows us also to see the best of the best art that can be produced, and I feel like we're going to have very strong entrants this year. Yes.
And do you think that basing on this particular theme, do you think that it limits also? There are those who they don't want to explore something about colors, they just do monochrome, like pencil only or ball pen only. Do you think it like limits them their creativity, or how can it be of use to them if they want to participate?
Yeah, so we also work with a fair few artists that don't work in color, but I feel like if an artist doesn't work in color, then that then challenges them to step outside the box, be a little bit more creative about how they work their way around that particular theme.
Yes.
Because for me, anything that fosters creativity is an amazing thing. So I feel that particular theme is a way for artists that don't work in color and work in black and white and sepia maybe to step their game up, get on to the next level, and produce pieces that are within the parameters that have been given there.
Yeah, sure. So, and about that, I think some of the artists are inspired by some of the most famous artists in the world. You can see like John O'Dright, he does charcoal, pure charcoal.
Yes.
From Nigeria, we can see the ballpen artist, Oscar Ukono, he does a very good work. So some of them are really inspired by them.
Yes.
And some of them will take it home. But for this, there is some upcoming big competition, so they can also take part. Ballpen artists, so it will be really good opportunity for them.
Absolutely, and even when you're speaking about artists that work in charcoal and work in ball pens, with artists that work in charcoal, usually they could transfer that particular piece into, say, pastel, which is almost the same and could be in color. And the ones who work in ball pens, obviously there's colored ball pens, so it's basically a free for all to do whatever you want. Sorry.
Okay, so it's about the art competition, and I think from there we have talked about the art residency.
Yes.
Yeah, and how important it is to an artist, and to a place like this, it can really provide a very great platform for the art residency. Or when you're talking about the prizes, what do you think artists should appreciate more when it comes to when they enter a competition? They want to be prized this way, whether money, art supplies, or something like that.
Yeah, so I have to clarify that the awards that were given out in the previous versions was art supplies, and there was funds, I think.
Yes.
And then there was a residency.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, of the three that are given to the artists, I think the residency is the most important one. Residencies, I think, for the layman, are artists going to stay at a place with other artists, ideally, so that they work within that artistic environment and produce work, during a duration of time. Some residencies end in an exhibition. And I think with residencies, the perks are that you get to be in a creative environment. But not only that, you're working in the midst of people who have different styles and employ different mediums to sort of tell their stories. And that for artists is invaluable, because you're basically in and amongst people that could even influence your own style, over time. I've seen artists join studios where they're surrounded by other artists, and over time you could see the evolution of their style, because they've taken on board somebody else's sort of advice, or picked a small nuance from somebody else's work that they could sort of elaborate on in their own style. So I think the residency is by far the most important thing of all of those prizes that they give.
Okay.
Yes. My final question.
Yes.
This is just about outside the art competition.
Yes.
It's just about the growth of an artist. For me, as an artist, I think artificial intelligence should not be a threat, and it should not interfere, because human beings, they connect with human things. So I don't know what you think about artificial intelligence interfering with fine art.
Okay, Billy, you're a young artist, and Almasi Art Agency usually represents young artists. We have a lot of artists under the age of 40, and we do that because we need to platform them. Usually they don't have connections to galleries where they can show and try and sell from, because most galleries want to keep the lights on, so they will go for more established artists. But at Almasi Art Agency, we try and work with artists like you. But you're talking about artificial intelligence and its effects on fine art, you know. So and it's something that a lot of people are thinking about, and I see a lot of back and forth about this particular subject. But as far as I'm concerned, the people who purchase the pieces of fine art, they are aware of the value of pieces that are generated by a human being, because it's a human story, as opposed to something that's generated off of a computer. So I don't think those people go away, and as long as those people are there, then you still have a market, you know. And this is important as far as commercial revenue is concerned. From generating artwork is concerned, I'm not worried about AI taking the jobs of fine artists, because fine artists tell a human story to other humans, as you said, from one human to the other. So I feel the people who value fine art will keep valuing fine art and keep purchasing it.
So originality and original storytelling should be a key factor to an artist when they create.
Absolutely, because people purchase art with maybe subjects and storylines that they can relate to. And if you're being original in your storytelling, be original in what you're trying to put out there in terms of your story in art, I feel like you will connect with someone. And this is the difference between you and AI, is because AI doesn't have a story to tell, but you do. So storytelling and originality in the storytelling, I think is something that is quite important.
And I think also in originality there comes an aspect of branding, whereby a collector's know you by a certain theme or a certain style. So what do you think are the positioning of using your originality form to brand yourself, so that maybe I don't know this how branding should be on social media or be personal relationship to collectors? Should an artist strive so hard to use social media as their branding platform, or should they be good enough also to have a good relationship with people and collectors who wants to buy from them?
So with artists and collectors and the relationship between the two, the thing with social media is every artist has their own style, but that is not limited to them, and they're not limited to that particular style themselves. From my experience selling art for almost 20 years, you find that particular people collect because of a particular style, if the style is the reason they're collecting. And we've had sometimes a problem where, say, maybe an artist has changed the theme of what they're working on, or the subjects, because they're in a different phase of their lives. But that's the beauty of collecting, is because you get to be part of the journey of this particular artist through and through. So I don't think artists are limited to a particular style. I don't think artists are limited to a particular online platform where they could show their style. Instagram is obviously a powerful tool, but you will find that for the most part, people who collect want a personal touch. Most people who collect sometimes are not on Instagram. So there's very many different ways we then want to get that art out to them, and one of them is maybe, say, catalogs of art. And so if an artist is good enough to do the administrative part of their work and create very good catalogs, then they can put it out there to their clients, and that's another platform that I feel is a little bit more personal, and I think yields better results than, say, putting it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you for that. Those are some of the key questions I think artists have. Me as an artist also, I understand what we go through, and those answers will be very helpful to our growth as we purpose to target more artist collectors, and also something that we can use to inspire the world that this is art, this is what I do, this is me, this is my story. So how do I get it to the world? Well, how can someone feel? How can someone join me in my journey? So that's it.
Okay. Also, as Almasi Art Agency, I want to let artists know that they have the opportunity to reach us You could email us on info@almasiartagency.com. And then ask your questions, because we work with a lot of young artists, and we're consistently fielding questions from young artists about their careers and where we'd like to take them. Yes.
That's
Okay. So, what do you feel about, what do you value about the creative partnerships and or organizations? Like, how do you feel about the value of creating partnerships with other, let's say, other creative spaces like Karen Village?
So as Almasi Art Agency, we've worked with Karen Village for quite some time, maybe about just under 10 years, back and forth. And I feel like creative partnerships are the future, because Karen Village obviously offers very different services, very different experience from what we do. We're an art agency, so our job is to cater to the needs of the fine art needs of very many different clients and artists. But Karen Village obviously is more multifaceted, and it includes programs and stuff like that. So with partnerships, what comes out of it is say programs like the art competition, where we could find the next generation of artists.
Yes.
It allows for a little bit more of a wider sort of net set out to try and catch the next rising star in fine art, or the stars in fine art. And we value that because as an agency and as a gallery, we feel like art needs to be sustainable, not only sustainable in the sort of materials that are used for generating the art, but also in the fact that the artists that are more established can pass information over to the next generation, and we can also try and lift the next generation and have this one cycle of artists just coming through, which helps, because we cannot only depend on artists that have been there before, but try and bring through the next generation of artists. So these partnerships help us with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for today, and until next time, bye.